wanted was to be a gangster. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. The Lord said, confession good for the soul. So right now,
all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, but I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, but I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster. And shot call to be known with them niggas letting shots off. Either that or the right hand to the top dog. Funny how we see vanity, not the lives lost. Can't be focused on a life that's hopeless. Out there pumping, not knowing the Lord will kill you for that hocus pocus. Used to roll with niggas that cook dope with weaponry. Same ones claim they love you. I had your life in jeopardy. And I know my mother wants success for me. But that G should take a girl straight to ecstasy. Remember running with bruh, even though we did the wrong thing. My life would've been a lot different if I fell up under Rob's wing. Was too sincere for a wicked game. Shame the Lord's name. Now we afflicted with pain. All I ever wanted was to be respected by stand-up niggas. Not knowing that them handcuffs custom made the face. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, but I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, but I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster. I ain't lying, I was close to dying. Knew I wanted to live, but I wasn't trying. I was defiant, not knowing that this ain't how we live. This just how they design it. Cause when you in them streets, you get more endemic. They don't tell you gonna be on papers and on restrictions. My father said a hard head to make a soft ass. I didn't care, I wanted fear when I walked past. In a place where a black man's blood is cheap. I thank the Lord for the day I was on Lake Street. Pissing in a cup, back and forth to court, from the DC school. I swear it felt like I cried on that fucking porch. The Lord said, my sheep, they ain't hear my voice. Asked me why I'm UPK, I told them I ain't have a choice. They said God ain't 50-50 and what's gonna come to pass. The Lord called me out the world and that's not really fair. All I wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, and I was just a stranger. Go ahead. All I wanted was to be a gangster. I.S.U.P.K until it hit the fam. I want power and a throne, nigga, fuck them grams. All I wanted was to be a gangster, but I was real as a righteous man. And now got the upper hand, gotta promote this brand. Correct whole multitudes until they all understand. If I can't get that crown, Lord, then put me in the hands of someone more mighty make me this hit man. Reminiscing on the pain that was felt. Shit, I was in the jail. Shit, I needed help. But Twan was locked up and the judge put man on the shelf. Had me crying cause it felt like I was left by myself. All I wanted was to impress niggas with my grinding. Now I ain't trying to prove shit to nobody but Muhammad. Cause most these niggas lie, pump smoke. One time for the most high, he made me a cutthroat. Cause all I ever wanted was to smash my opponents. Stacking cash, not knowing it wouldn't last. Then God, I hope you accept my atonement. Cause all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was a danger. Decisions that I made before the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was a danger. Decisions that I made before the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time when I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a
According to God, the white man is the devil.
See, I've been in here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white ass, need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. See, everybody ain't with all that peace talk. Everybody ain't with all that bygone be. Boy, ass need to stop and ask you to prophets. My nigga serious. When they hit us with dope and kill us with crack, where the fuck with your leaders? I'm curious. He cashed out on your blood, traded you in and bought a new biz. Ask you the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you don't wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I say you won't tell you no more. I swear these crackers try to kill us slow. Just spoke to a nigga and fed it up for parole. Because of the COVID, it feel like the host in this world that don't go together. Nowhere is gold in the ghetto. I'm in the city blazing with my niggas. Just told the devil the score never settled. Yeah, see the prophets. I'm tired of these niggas keep talking about, you know, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the prophets. You know, like we all come together. Cause you know, they say God so loved the world. God so loved the world, and boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the prophets. Don't give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, y'all, we don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up. You know what I'm saying? Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to one with step. I'm solid for show. To the fake niggas, stay silent. I got it. Let's go. Let's go. I ain't taking no losses. Ain't no talking when we got the flow. Ain't no peace, just play with you. I'ma be loyal to the right arm. Tell him we can't keep it slate. And I can never let bygone be bygone. Got you, baby mother on high, on high. Baby pass through the fire. Ask you the prophets. That baby soul belong to the Lord. How dare you abort it? If devil will failure, bitch, I can afford it. I prepare slaughter, you bring me my water. Push your leaders weak, let them lies slip through their teeth. Their ass need to stop and ask you the prophets.
That's just the reality, Christians. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I know your pastor lied to you every Sunday for 30 years, but that's what the church is for, lying. That's why they exist, to lie the money out of your pockets.
Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga.
All right, Shalom, Yahweh Shem, Yahweh Shabbat, to the brothers,
Yahweh Shema Alatham by Shem Yahweh Shai and the sisters. Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. Okay, this is the I.S.U.P.K. Florida Lashawan Qadash class. Okay, when we come in, we teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians their original language, their original tongue. Okay, the holy tongue, the Lashawan Qadash. Okay, this is all part of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians taking back their heritage. Okay, you know, how did you dress before we went into slavery? What language did you speak? You know, what were you called? You know, all these things that we are not aware of. And in 2022, we don't even ask. We don't even ask, you know what I mean? Like, for the most part, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we don't ask who, you know, what food did I eat before I became a slave? What clothes, how did we dress? What language did we speak? And the biggest thing I think is, you know, we don't want to acknowledge that we were the slaves. You know what I mean? That's a rough thing. So instead of acknowledging that we were the slaves, we want to take on a fantasy, take on the culture of somebody else, let's say the Egyptians, and say that, you know, we were kings and queens. And I heard a brother in the school say, you know, he was like, well, who was the slaves? You know what I mean? The Egyptians had slaves, okay? So, and even if, like, you think about it, if you have a society, right? And let's say that society, you have a king. There's only one king. There's only going to be one king. So how in the world were we all kings and queens? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make this. It's a fantasy. And the devil who runs the earth, which is Esau, he wants you to live a fantasy. He wants you to live a make-believe, just like he wants you to live the American dream. He wants you in a fantasy state, okay? And in the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, we don't live in a fantasy state. We don't live in a dream world. We live in the real world, reality. And reality is not always nice. Reality is not always not sweet and, you know, pretty and cute and wonderful. Reality is you doing what you were created to do, okay? No matter how you feel about it, okay? So this is, you know, with that being said, this is just part of us in the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, waking Black people up, giving them the tools that they need to understand who they are, okay, and how to serve your God, okay? So again, this is the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me see who we got in the chat. We give some shout outs. Okay. Okay, we got Trooper Rakam, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah, Sister Darsha, Yahweh Shema Alatah by Shem Yahushai, Shayara, Yahweh Shema Alatah by Shem Yahushai, Ra'ayaha, okay. Shalom Yahweh Shema Alatah by Shem Yahushai, okay. Anybody want to go ahead and jump in live, just go ahead and hit the link up in the top of the chat, okay? And you can come on in and ask questions and participate in the class, okay? All right, so I'm going to start the class off like I usually do, okay? We're going to go ahead and go through all the characters and sounds that are associated with the Hebrew language, okay? The Hebrew is written and read from right to left, okay? Okay. Come in. All right, Salaki for that. Okay, so back to, okay, we go through the, I like to go through the sounds and the characters, okay? If you're familiar with the class already, you know what I mean, just bear with me, okay? But anybody new in the class, okay, we're gonna go ahead. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and just recite all the sounds, okay? There's 22 sounds and characters in the Hebrew language, okay? So the sounds are as this, okay? Ah, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, taza, kwa, ra, sha, and ta, okay? Those are the 22 sounds that are associated with the Hebrew language, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write the characters, okay? Okay, 22 sounds and characters. Remember, the Hebrew is written and read from right to left, okay? From right to left, okay? Okay, the first sound in the Hebrew language is the ah, okay? The ah, okay? This on the top is the ancient Hebrew. This is the original text, what I'm putting on the top here, okay? And then on the bottom, I'm going to put the Assyrian, okay? I'm going to put the Assyrian character on the bottom, okay? two different symbols, same sound, okay? This is the ah sound, okay? Let me try to do something here a little. All right, let me. Okay, the first sound is the ah. Okay, the ah. In the ancient Hebrew, it looks like this. In the Assyrian, it looks like this. Okay? And then we have the ba sound. Okay? All right, just let me know if you can see this text good or not. You may have to adjust the lighting. Okay, then we have the ba. Ba. The ba sound, okay? And the ba and the symbol looks like this in the ancient Hebrew, okay? In the Assyrian, it looks like this. Okay, that's the ba sound. Okay, then we have the ga sound, ga. Okay, the ga is in the ancient Hebrew looks like this. Okay, in the Assyrian, the ga is going to look like this. Okay, that's the ga sound. Okay, then we have the da sound. In the Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, it looks like that. That is the symbol for da. And the Assyrian, the da symbol will look like this. Okay? Two different symbols, same sound. Okay? Two different symbols, same sound. Okay? Then we have the ha. Ha. The ha. The ha. Okay? In the ancient Hebrew, it looks like this. That's the symbol for the ha sound. In the Assyrian, it looks like this. Okay? That is the symbol for the ha sound. Ha. Okay? Then we have the wa. 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 Okay? The wa. In the ancient Hebrew, the wa will look like this. Hey, shalom, sister. How shalom? All right. Okay. That's your wa. That's the symbol for the wa sound. Okay. In the Assyrian, the wa is going to look like this. Okay. That's the symbol for the wa sound. Two different symbols, one sound. Okay. At the top, we have the ancient Hebrew. Okay. Ancient Hebrew, this is a separate text from the Assyrian Hebrew. Okay. The bottom, we have the Assyrian. Okay. Okay, so next, the next sound is going to be the za. Za. Okay? Za. The symbol for the za sound looks like this in the ancient Hebrew. Okay? That's the za. In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay? That is the symbol for the za sound. Two different symbols, one sound. Okay? That's your za. Okay? The next sound we have is the ka. Okay? The ka. You have to put a little emphasis on it. Ka. Okay? The K sound. Okay, K. In the ancient Hebrew, it'll look like this. You see this symbol, it represents the K sound. Okay. In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay. These are the symbols, two different symbols, one sound. Okay. Tomorrow, when we do the Hebrew class, we'll be reading in the Assyrian, because in the year 2022, the Sabbath class. So in the year 2022, okay, all the majority of the text that we have available to us and access to is written in the Assyrian, okay? So as men of the Lord, we go ahead and learn both texts, okay? So we can be able to communicate and learn our history and teach our people what it is they need to know, okay? Okay, so the next sound is the T sound. T. Okay? The T sound. The symbol for that in the ancient Hebrew is this. This is the symbol for the T sound in the ancient Hebrew. Okay? In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay? Two different symbols, one sound. T. Okay? Okay, now we have the Y. The Y sound. Y. Okay? Y. The symbol for that in the ancient Hebrew looks like this. Y. Okay? That's the Y sound. In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay? That's the Y sound. Okay? The next sound we have is the K. K. The K is different from the K. Okay? This is the K. You put a little emphasis on that. K. Okay? The next sound we have is K. 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 Okay? The symbol for that is going to be this. That's the symbol for the K sound. Okay? In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay? Two different symbols, one sound. K. Okay? I go over these sounds and symbols every week because this is the basis of you learning how to speak and read Hebrew. You have to know I don't like to call them alphabets, but I call them symbols. Symbols and sounds, okay? You have to know these symbols and the sounds that are associated with these symbols in order to read. To be literate in the Hebrew, you got to know what sounds are associated with the symbols, okay? It's no different from any other language. The most basic, or not the most basic, this Hebrew is the most basic language on the earth. But how can I say it? Esau's language. It's the same system, okay? He has symbols. We grew up from a baby learning the sounds that are associated with his symbols, okay? So we are learning all over, as coming into the truth of our power. We learn all over how to communicate in our original tongue, okay? Okay, so the next sound, we use all these symbols and sounds to make words, okay? To communicate, okay? So the next sound is going to be the, okay, before I get too far. So with the cup, okay, the cup, 2 symbols, 1 sound. Now we have to implement something new into the Assyrian. So with the Assyrian, they have several sounds and symbols that if this sound is at the end of a word, you're going to see a different symbol. Okay? So if you're reading with us tomorrow in the Sabbath service and you see this symbol at the end of a word, the cup in the Assyrian, it's not going to look like this. What you'll see is it'll look like this. Okay? Which kind of looks like the duh symbol. The only difference is the vertical line on this is going to be extra long. Okay? So if there's another text, when there's another symbol next to it, you'll see this bottom line is going to go like a little further down. Like if the ha was next to it, it'll look like that. This vertical line will extend a little further down to let you know that this is the symbol. This is the symbol for the cup sound, okay? At the end of a word, if the cup sound in the Assyrian lands at the end of a word, okay, you're going to see this symbol, okay? They don't put symbols on. Okay? Use this symbol if this sound in the Assyrian lands at the end of a word, okay? I'll give you an example of that a little later, but we'll keep going, okay? So the next sound is going to be the la, 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 the la, the la sound, okay? The symbol for that in the ancient is going to look like this. This is the symbol for the la sound. In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay? This is the symbol for the la sound. 2 different symbols, 1 sound. La, la. Okay? So the next sound is the ma, ma. This is the symbol in the Assyrian, in the Hebrew, okay? The ma sound. In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay? Ma. The ma. 2 symbols, 1 sound. Okay, again, with the ma in the Assyrian, okay? If the ma sound lands at the end of a word, you're going to use a different character, okay? Different symbol. You'll see a different symbol. If you're reading it, if you're writing it, you're going to use a different symbol if the ma sound lands at the end of the word, okay? The ma. Okay, it'll look like this. Okay. This is the symbol for the M sound if it lands at the end of a word and you're reading in the Assyrian. Okay. Okay, so the next sound is going to be the nut, 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 the nut sound. Nut. Again, we take all these sounds and we put them together to create words, okay? So, the symbol for the nut in the ancient Hebrew looks like this. I'm sorry, sir, I didn't ask you. You want to? Okay, this is the nut symbol. In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay, this will be the symbol for the nut sound. When we're reading in the Sabbath service tomorrow, when you see this symbol, this is the nut sound. Okay. So also with the nut sound in the Assyrian, if it falls at the end of a word, okay, you're going to see a different symbol. And that symbol will look like this. Okay? It's going to kind of look like the cup symbol. But as you can see, the horizontal line is shorter with the nut. That horizontal line is very short. Okay, so if you see this symbol at the end of a word, this is the nut sound. Okay, the nut. If it's at the beginning or in the middle of a word, you'll see this symbol. Okay. Okay. So we're almost halfway through. If you're writing them down, that's good. Okay. You want to be taking notes and writing stuff down as we go along in the class. I'm going to take that down there in a second and we'll get the rest of the symbols up. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take these down and we'll go ahead and get the rest of the sounds, go through the rest of the sounds, and then we'll get into some words, okay? Okay, so like the basic elements of reading this language is these sounds, okay? It's going to be the sounds, okay? If you don't know how to identify these sounds and pronounce them when you identify them, you can't read the Hebrew language, okay? You know, if you're asking, okay, what's this word? What's the word for, you know, like let's say, for example, what's the word for king? And I give you that word. If you don't know how to read it when you see it, or if you don't know how to, you know what I mean, be able to understand what you're looking at when you see the word in the Hebrew, you don't need that word. What you need is to learn these characters and sounds, okay? If you can't look at a word and identify each individual sound, you don't need words. What you need to do is learn, okay, these symbols and sounds, okay? Okay, so we left off with the nut sound. The next sound is the suck. Okay, suck. Okay? The symbol for the sa sound in the ancient Hebrew will look like this. Okay? And the symbol for the sa sound in the Assyrian will look like this. Okay? That's the symbol for the sa sound. Two symbols, one sound. Okay? Two symbols, one sound. Ancient Hebrew at the top, Assyrian at the bottom. Okay? The next sound is going to be the I. I. The I sound. That symbol in the ancient is going to look like this. Okay? Did I make a mistake? No. The sa and the Assyrian looks like the I in the Hebrew. Okay? The sa symbol resembles the I symbol. Okay, the sa symbol in the Assyrian resembles the I symbol in the Hebrew. You just have to practice makes perfect. If you know you're reading the ancient Hebrew and you see that, you know it's the I. If you know you're reading the Assyrian and you see that, you know it's the sa. Okay, the sa. Okay, so the I symbol in the Assyrian will look like this. That's your I. I. Okay? The next sound that we have is the pa. 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 Okay? In the ancient Hebrew, it'll look like this. Pa. The pa sound. In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay? The pa sound. Again, if you're reading the Assyrian, okay, and this pa sound lands at the end of a word, you're going to see a different symbol. Okay, that symbol will look like this. Let me adjust that a little bit, just so it's as true as possible. It'll be more rounded. Okay. That's what you'll see if the pa sound lands at the end of a word when you're reading the Assyrian. You see this symbol at the end of a word, it's the pa sound. Okay. Different symbols, same sound. Okay. Okay, so the next sound we have is the taza. 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 In the ancient, it'll look like this. Taza. In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay. Also, again, if the taza sound in the Assyrian lands at the end of a word, you're going to see a different symbol. Okay, and that symbol will look like this. Okay? That's your tazah. Tazah. This is the symbol for the tazah. Okay? Okay, so the next sound is the kwa. 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 This is the symbol in the ancient Hebrew for the kwa sound. Okay? Tomorrow, when we're reading in the Assyrian, in the Sabbath service, if you see this symbol, that is the kwa sound. Kwa. Kwa. Okay? Kwa. Okay? So now there's the ra. 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 Ra sound. And the ra will look like this in the ancient. Okay? In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay? This is the ra sound. Now you may see the duh sound, and in the Assyrian, you may see the duh sound and mistaking it for the ra sound, because the duh sound looks like this. Okay? But as you can see, it has a sharper edge. The ra sound is more rounded. The top corner is rounded. That's the ra sound, okay? The top corner is rounded. That's the ra sound. Okay? So don't get the duh sound confused with the ra sound. You just have to pay attention and look closer. Look at the symbol closely, okay? You can see there's a very distinct difference, okay? The duh resembles the ra, but they're not the same, okay? Okay, so we have the sh sound next. The sh sound. Sh. The sh symbol in the Hebrew is this. This symbol represents the sh sound. In the ancient Hebrew, it'll look like this. Two different symbols, same sound. Sh. You see this symbol? This is the sh sound. Sh. Okay? Last but not least, we have the th. 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 The th is different from the t. Okay? This is the th, not the t. Th. The th. Okay, the th. We could go either way with that. Let's see. We go like that. Pick it out. Okay. This is the th symbol. Okay?
Respect the name.
The th. The th. Put some respect on it when you say the th. All right. So that's the symbols and sounds that are associated with the Hebrew language, okay? If you're writing, taking notes, go ahead and finish up real quick. And I'm going to take that down, and we'll get into some words, okay? Anything specific? Okay? Good. Good. Eating candy? All right. Let's see what we got going on. Check the chat real quick. All right, we got Brandy in the class. Shalom, Yahweh Shemal Athah B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Bayarah. Shalom, Yahweh Shemal Athah B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Dabarah. Shalom, Yahweh Shemal Athah B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Rakam said, just getting off the slave. No sweat, Hebrew. No sweat. Okay. All right, no sweat. So what, I like to, Rakam, you definitely, if you can jump in, go ahead and jump in when you get to the crib or whatever, or somewhere where you can, participate in the class. Other than that, you know what I mean? Like, all I try to do is give Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the basic breakdown of this language, okay? Like I said earlier, if you can't read the language and you're asking for, certain words and this, that, and the third, but when you see a symbol, you don't even know how to read the word, I mean, what's the use? You know what I'm saying? You have to understand and know, just like any other, like just the American school system. You have to learn your sounds and symbols before you start learning words. You know what I'm saying? You have to learn the ABCs, okay? And here you got to learn the ah to the tha. You got to know them symbols. When you see that symbol, you got to know what sound it's creating or what sound is associated with that symbol, okay? And then you graduate to the next level, okay? And start knowing what words mean. Then you know what, Amar means, okay? You know what Malak means, okay? You know what Aratazak means, you know what I'm saying? So first we have to know these sounds and symbols, okay? And I always tell everybody the best way to learn the Hebrew, how to read words, is first mastering the ancient Hebrew, okay? Because the ancient Hebrew, it gives you connectors. It basically tells you how to sound the word out, okay? It gives you the understanding of how to say the word, okay? Then once you know how to say the word, you can start saying, okay, what does that word mean? But first you have to know how to read it, okay? What is this word, okay? Now, okay, what does this word mean, okay? So we'll get some words. I'm gonna fall back, okay, and just get some basic words that if you're in the Sabbath service with us tomorrow, I'm gonna go and put up the most common words that are found in the Tanakh, the Torah, okay? The most common words that are found in there when you're reading it tomorrow, so you can try to get a better, you can get familiar. You see these words I'm gonna be putting up on the board tomorrow when we're reading, you'll already kind of know how to, if you can remember, you'll know how to, sound this word out. You know what I mean? You'll know how to read this word. And you listen, I don't know all the words in the Hebrew, what every word means. That's why we read it in the Hebrew and then we go back and we read it in the English, okay? To try to, get an understanding of what we read and get familiar with each word and what it means, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna put up some really common words and then I'm gonna move forward to some words that we haven't covered yet. But these words that I'm putting up right now, we have covered, and they're very common, and you should know how to, if you've been in the class for a while, you should know what this word is. When you see it, you should know what it means, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna put up the first word I'm gonna put up, and remember, when I put this word up, Hebrew reads from right to left. So when I put the word up, I'm gonna start here and go this way. So when you're reading it, you're gonna start over here and go this way when you're reading. You're gonna say each sound, and then you're gonna figure out if you have to put the sounds together, are they connected or are they singular sounds, okay? Because if the sounds are connected, that means two sounds becomes one sound, okay? So the first word, which is very common, a word that we say all the time that shows up in the Hebrew text in the Old Testament the most, okay, is going to be this word. And if you have the notes, you took notes and you know what each symbol sound is, go ahead and try to, put it together, okay, as I'm writing it up. Okay, that's the ancient Hebrew, okay? In the Assyrian, it'll look like this. Okay. Okay. This is the number one most common word that shows up in the Old Testament when we're reading tomorrow in the Torah or the Tanakh. Okay. This is the most common word you're going to see. Okay, now these connectors, okay, if you see a connector pointing up between two words, that means those two sounds are together. Okay, if the connector is pointed down, that means that's a singular sound. Okay, you understand? If the connector is pointing up, now these two sounds become one sound. If it's pointed down, this sound is by itself. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to put the sounds above the text, okay, the characters, and then we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so you got the ya, okay, and the ha, okay, and the wa, and the ha again, okay. So now, this is the most common word in the Old Testament, okay? So now when you say this word, okay? Okay, let's spell it out, okay? Let's spell it out in the English. Let's translate it from the Hebrew to the English in the English lettering, okay? So it's going to be ya. Then we have the ha. Okay, and then we have the wa. Then we have the ha again. Okay, but now we see the ya is by itself. Okay, the ya is a sound by itself. Ya. So when I go to say this word, I'm going to say ya. I'm going to say that sound. Now with the connector here is pointing down, so I know I'm going to say the ha by itself. I'm going to say ya ha. Okay, I'm going to say ya ha. But now I get here to the wa and the next ha, and they're together. Okay, so I'm not going to say ya ha wa ha. I'm not going to do that because now two sounds are together. Okay, and whenever you have two sounds together, what you do is you're going to cross out or eliminate the last part of the last sound. Okay, you're going to eliminate the last part of the last sound. So now I'm going to take away the last part of the ha sound. Okay, and now I'm going to put these two sounds together. Okay, so now this sound just became, these two sounds just became one sound. Okay, and that's the basic of reading the ancient Hebrew. It's very simple, basically. It gives you how to sound the word out. So now this sound is ya, ha, wa. It's not ya, ha, wa, ha. It's ya, ha, wa. All I'm keeping is that ha sound at the end. Ya, ha, wa. Not ya, ha, wa, ha. Okay? It's ya, ha, wa. All I'm keeping is the ha. It's not a true ha sound. It's just a ha. Okay? Ya, ha, wa. Okay? So that's how now you're familiar with, okay, words, these simple words that I give you. Now you come and you read it in the Assyrian, okay, and you have to remember. Okay, now the test comes in where, okay, I remember that word, I know the sounds. Now let me try to put these sounds together. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to just separate all the sounds. Okay? You're going to want to separate all the sounds. You're going to go YAHANNA, and I said the word. Like I did that when I first started. Now I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. When you first learning, go ahead. You know what I mean? Like just say every sound. But after a while, you'll get, you know, to the point where you want it to sound like a Hebrew word. You want it to sound, you know, the way it was intended to sound. Okay, Yahweh. Okay, Yahweh. Okay, you'll learn how to just, you know, look at these words and put them together, make it sound like a Hebrew word. Okay, but practice makes perfect. Okay, practice makes perfect. Okay, so that's the number one word right here. Is the number one word that you're going to run across as we're reading the Old Testament tomorrow. Okay, this is the number one word. You have to know how to put these sounds together. That is the basic of this language, okay? You know what I mean? Like knowing like if I have a word and I can add a preposition to it to make the word mean something else, okay? We'll get to that, but first I want you to be able to look at this word and know how to read it. Because I can put a new symbol in front of Yahweh or at the end of Yahweh, and it'll mean Yahweh still, but it'll be like the Yahweh or something like that, or in Yahweh. Okay, so first we have to know what all these sounds are when you see these symbols, and then you get into, okay, how do I break a word down? What's the root word? When I see a word, you'll get used to seeing these words, and then you'll see a wa at the end of it, or a ba at the beginning of it, and you'll know, okay, well, I know that word. That's the root word. But now it has a wa or a ba at the end or the beginning. How does that change that word? Okay, so we'll get to that. But first, let's really get the understanding and know all these symbols and how to make the sounds and put these words together, okay? That's where we want to be at. We want to be able to say these sounds and words. You want to be able to see the sound, the symbol, and know the sound. Be able to say the word, okay? Even if you gotta like say all this, say all the. You have a word, and you can individually say all the sounds. You can say ya, ha, wa, ha, and then you just think in your mind, okay, is that how it's supposed to sound? Ya, ha, wa, ha, or should it be ya, ha, wa? Okay, that sounds a little better. You know what I mean? So we'll get there, but first we have to know. Okay, we have to have a good understanding of these sounds and symbols. Okay, if you can't associate a sound with a symbol, then you don't need to know what this word means and what that word means. You can't even read the word. You know what I mean? So let's learn how to read first. Let's learn how to know these symbols and sounds, and then we'll move on to being able to put words together. Okay. Okay, another good word that we're going to see a lot when we're reading tomorrow in the Sabbath service. Okay. This is a good word. Okay. Okay, it's at the end. Okay, remember this? You should have taken note of that. We had, this is the Tazak sound. And remember earlier we said in the Assyrian, if the Tazak lands at the end of a word, okay, the original Tazak sound looks like this. But if it lands at the end of a word, remember we said it'll look like this. Okay? Two symbols, one sound in the Assyrian. Okay? Just wanted to point that out. That's a good example of what we went over earlier. Okay? That Tazak sound symbol. If it lands at the end of a word, this is what you'll see. Okay. So we have the the Ra, and the Tazak. Okay. All separate sounds. Ra, Tazak. Ra, Tazak. Okay. So it's going to spell out exactly how you see it. Ra, Ra, Tazak. Okay, Ra, Tazak. Which means earth, okay? In the Old Testament, like even right now, what we don't understand as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, everything is about the earth and the land and countries, okay? If you don't have your own land, you don't have your own country, and you're living in a land under somebody else, you're living in somebody else's land, guess what's going to happen? You're going to worship their God. You're going to worship, you're going to celebrate their days. And the Lord wants us to have our own land so we can celebrate our own days, worship our own God. And the great example of that is when Moses went to Pharaoh, right? Moses went to Pharaoh and said, let my people go so we can go out in the wilderness, a different land, and worship our God. Because they couldn't worship their God over there in Egypt. How many gods Egypt got? Hundreds? We couldn't worship our God in Egypt. We had to go out into our own land to worship our God. So that's what everything, even today in 2022, if you don't have your own land, you are a slave. And that's what we try to wake our people up. You know what I mean? Like, instead of not wanting to confront the fact that you are a slave, your forefathers came over here on a slave ship. Instead of trying to not deal with that and be shameful of that, now that's part of the reason why you can't move forward, because you don't want to acknowledge who you are and where you come from. Now, you ask most niggas if they're, your people came over here in slave ship. No. We didn't. We were the slave masters. We had slaves. You know what I mean? Like do anything to like get out of acknowledging that they were slaves. That's why they go to this what is it? You know, the thing. What is that? Egyptology. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they and you know, I remember brother said it, and it made so much sense. Like, because they're like, we're all kings and queens. Who's the slaves? Like, if we were all kings and queens in one land, who was the slaves? They had slaves over there. It's written on the walls over there in the caves or whatever, in the pyramids. Who were the slaves? You were a Negro. That's why Moses had to come and get you out of that condition. The Lord used Moses to get you out of that condition. Okay? And it's so crazy because all you got to do is just think common sense. If there's a land and there's a kingdom, how many kings are in that kingdom? How many kingdoms have you ever read where there's like multiple kings in this one kingdom? There's one king, one queen, and that's it. There wasn't, everybody in the streets wasn't kings and queens. So we have to just be able to acknowledge who we are and where we come from to be able to move forward. Okay, I was a slave. My people were the slaves. Now, how do we get out of this condition? How do I get my own Aratazah, my own land? Okay. So Aratazah means land, earth. This is the meaning of it. Okay. Earth, land, or country. Okay. Recall, I don't understand your question. Okay, you're trying to see the connectors. What the? I don't understand your question, Rakam. You can't see the connectors? Let me try to fix the camera. Maybe it's out of focus. Let me know if that helps you. Okay. Okay, so like in the U.P.K, when you get your name, okay, when you get your name, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, when you get your name, you're sent you're given the meaning of your name, right? And where you can find it at, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So if somebody gave you a name, you should be able to go to that person and they will direct you on what your name means. I mean, it should have been told you when you got your name. You're told what your name means and where you can find it at, either in the Bible or in the accordance, okay? The Bible accordance. But you definitely just get with whoever gave you your name and they'll be able to direct you on how and what you need, okay? So, okay, that's Aratazah, okay? That's like one of the most common words we're going to find in the Bible, or if you're reading the Old Testament, okay? Land. That's what it's all about. Since Adam, that's what it's been about.
The Lord set Adam in a land. Okay, all just him and his rib, and they were supposed to raise a nation in that land, separate from everybody else. That's what it's all about. Land. This earth that's what wars are about. Everything's about you having your own land. And if you have your own land, guess what you got? You got rest. You got peace. But if you are in a land under somebody else, you are going to be, like there's no rest and no peace. You're their servant, okay? You are at their beck and command, okay? So that's what this whole thing is about. You have your own land. How can you rule if you don't have your own land? How can you rule anything if you don't have your own land? You can't rule nothing here in America. White man run this stuff. Try to run something if you want to.
But we all American.
No, we're not all American. That's what this whole class is about. We're not all American. I'm not an American. Don't insult me like that. Only a good slave.
That's what they say though.
Yeah, right. You're right. But how come we're not all treated like Americans? You know what I'm saying? Why is there so much division? When we go to camp, we pick certain camp spots and we go to camp, you can look to the left and see the hood, and look to the right and see, the Esau's kingdom. Why is there so much division if we're all just the same? If God loves everybody, you know what I'm saying? It's all a farce and a lie, okay? And that's the whole point of the U.P.K, okay? To teach our people that we've been believing a lie for far too long, okay? Bubbly. Okay. I'm going to put up a couple more words and then I'm going to do a sentence, okay? We'll do a small sentence and we'll read that sentence and then break it down into English, okay? All right. Okay, here's a good one that we see all the time. Okay. Okay. If this word looks familiar, it's because if you've been in this class, we went over this word, okay? But I'm trying to give us the basic and the knowledge and understanding of how to read this language. I mean, if you can't come and you can't sit in class and actually read this language fluently and know the sounds when you see that symbol, then you know what I mean? Like, I understand we want to, know certain meanings of certain words, this, that, and the third. But if you can't do that, like, it's like a kindergartner trying to, read on a 5th grade level. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know what this sound is. How are you going to read? You don't even know the sound, but you want to know what this word means and what that word means. Well, learn how to read the language first. Know how to see these symbols. Know how to see all these symbols and know the sounds without, stuttering. Okay? That's where we need to be at. Okay? Okay. We got the Ya, the Sha, the Ra, the Ah, and the La. Okay, those are our sounds. Okay, now if you say all these sounds, that word should come to you because you hear it all the time. If you've been in this school and you've been around, this school, and you've just been, all you got to do is just have your ears open. You've heard this word a lot. You hear this word all the time. Okay. Just say each sound, okay, and you should know what this word is. Say each sound, and you should know what this word is. You like food, huh? You know what? I do a little bit. All right, so just say each sound. Just say each sound, and that word should come to you. Say each sound, and that word should come to you. Is that feature? Bling, bling. All right. Ya, Sha, Ra, Ah, La. What does that sound like? Ya, Sha, Ra, Ah, La. Say it again. No. It starts with Ya, not Ah. Okay, look at me. Say the sound. Say it out loud.
Ya, Sha, Ra, Ah, La.
Now say it kind of fast.
Yes. Ra, Sha.
No. Ya.
Ya, Sha, Ra, Ah, La. Ra, Sha, Ra, Allah.
Ya, Sha, Ra, Allah.
Ra, Sha, Allah. Ra, Allah.
You gotta say Ya, not Wa.
Ya, Sha, Ra, Allah.
Ya, Sha, Ra, Allah. Ra, Sha.
Ya, Sha, Ra, Allah.
Ra, Sha, Allah. Ra, Allah.
Right.
I know it.
Okay. So so now let's see each sound. Okay, the Ya is by itself. Ya. So you're gonna say the Ya. Then you're gonna say the Sha by itself. Ya, Sha. Now the Ra. Okay, my bad. Okay. The Ya is by itself, and the Sha and the Ra are together. Okay? Okay, so what did we say about when the last sound of two sounds are put together? Right. Drop the last part of that sound. Okay? So now the Ah is going to be by itself, and the La is going to be by itself. So now you got, let's spell it out on the board. Ya, Shah. Oh, Yashar.
Shar. Allah.
Right. Yashar Allah.
Shar. Allah.
Right. So now you're gonna want to get used to like trying to say it fluently. Yashar Allah.
Yashar Ra.
Yashar Allah.
Yashar Allah.
Right. It takes a little practice. It's like it's really, and it's so weird because it's just normal sounds that we've been making our whole life. Ra, A, B, C, R, H. You know what I mean? Like these are sounds we've already been making, but now when it comes to putting these sounds together and making it sound, it's just making it sound the way it should sound when you're reading the Hebrew. It just becomes, we get tongue-tied. Like when I first came into the truth, I was tongue-tied. You know, I couldn't, I couldn't, you know, and then now I'm so fluent in it, I just say, I don't even say the whole thing no more time. Yeah, thug, you know, because thug, you know, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to say Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shabbat, thug, you know, I just thug, you know what I mean? Like, but I remember when I first came into the truth, and you know, a brother would salute me, hey, that warrior, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shabbat, thug. I would be like, I couldn't even say it. I couldn't say Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shabbat, Barakatah. I couldn't say it.
Like Lord Christ.
Yeah, I didn't know Lord Christ right there. You know what I mean? So it's just, you know, getting used to talking in this language, putting the with the la and the ra and the sha and the ya. You know what I mean? Ya, shar, Allah. It's just, yeah. Ya. See that? It's by itself. Ya. Shar. La. Boom. There it is. Yasha Allah. Okay. Okay. Yasha Allah. That's who you are. You are Israel. Okay. So that's it. We just have to, you know what I mean? It's just a little different. But you know what I mean? I heard somebody say the other day, you know what I mean? Like, we actually come out into the earth speaking this language. Dada, mama, baba. We are born in the earth speaking this language. So do yourselves a favor and teach your children. I was with my cousin today on my mom's side, and I was telling her we have to teach our children this. Like first you have to learn it, and then you teach your children. And then you teach your children's children. You know what I mean? Like that's the way, that's how when Moses brought us out of Egypt and we went into the wilderness, the people who went into our new land were the people who were taught in the wilderness. We had to be taught this again. Just like you can say we're in the wilderness right here in America. You know, in the state that we live in, we're in the wilderness, okay? And we are being taught this new way of living, new way of worshiping God, the new way to speak, the new way to talk, the new way to behave in the earth. We're being taught this in the midst of everything. We're being taught this in the wilderness. And what you want to do is pass it on to your kids and your kids' kids, because if it don't happen in my lifetime, well, I want my kids to be ready for it. If it don't happen in their lifetime, I want their kids to be ready for it. So we have to teach this. We have to show, we have to pass this on. Okay, the Lord is doing this for a reason. It is to give you your own land, to give you rest. Because as long as you're in America, you're not going to have rest. Okay, the Lord wants you to have rest. But you have to put in some work to get that rest. Okay? Yes, sir.
White man had to put in work to get his rest.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. He came over here. It didn't happen in, them forefathers. They didn't get to see this. They didn't get to see the machine that they put together run on autopilot. Because right now, America is just running on autopilot. They don't have to come and burn crosses in your yard no more to make you believe in the white Jesus. You're born believing in the white Jesus. You want to celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving. His system, those forefathers from Philadelphia and all that, they teaching white history. They didn't get to see this. They didn't get to see their system is just on autopilot. It's just running. It's just running. And you know what the fuel is that's running their system? Niggas. We're the fuel that runs their system. Their system runs off the backs of niggas, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We're the ones we celebrate Thanksgiving better than they do.
They celebrate Labor Day.
Oh yeah, they about to get man. I told my cousin, I'm like, y'all about to eat all the pork hot dogs you can find. All the pork ribs. Master gave me a day off. I was about to celebrate.
Absolutely.
Yes. Like you are celebrating your labor. The labor you do in this place, you're going to celebrate it. I'm a good slave. I'm a good slave. And it all started from, 400-500 years ago when they beat us and raped us and murdered us to the point where, and worked us to like the bone, to our bones, bleeding, hands bleeding. So that one time of the year that came around, that Christmas day, it's written in books. Master was just a little bit easier on you. You didn't have to go in the field and work from sun up to sundown. We look forward to that day. And now it's ingrained in us. We look forward to Christmas. In the middle of the summer, July, you working, you hustling. Man, I'll be glad when Christmas come around, boy.
Look forward to take all your hard-earned money and give it
back to Esau. Give it right back to him. That's why I say we are the fuel that's got his system just running on autopilot. If we stop working, no, let's not say we stop slavery. Let's just say we stop taking all our resources and giving it right back to Esau. This kingdom would fall. This place would fall apart. Because just imagine if all the money and resources he's giving you, you're not giving it right back you're not putting it right back in his fuel tank. You taking it and putting it in your fuel tank. Now you building something else over here. You got something else running. This is gonna fall apart. So you know what I mean? Like, not only do we teach, that's part of the teaching that in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, that's part of the teaching. We have to stop fueling America's economic system. Okay? Of course, just like anybody else, we have to go and do something to bring some meat into the house, okay? To keep, the way they got the society set up, to keep a tent, to live in. Because these shacks that we live in these ghettos are nothing but tents. They're just, concrete tents.
Shanties.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? That's our purpose, is to give this to our children's and our children's children's. So if it don't happen in your lifetime, at least your kids are ready for it to happen in their lifetime. If they don't happen late, their kids is ready, because that's how it happened when we went out into the wilderness with Moses. Moses didn't get to see the land. There was a whole generation that had to die off, and the new generation went into that land that didn't know nothing about Christmas, that didn't know nothing about Thanksgiving, that didn't know, that didn't think God loved everybody.
Because Columbus ain't seen America.
Right, you know what I mean? He went back and never came, you know what I mean? Like,
he never seen America.
Right.
He seen the Bahamas or Puerto Rico.
Okay, he never made it to this land?
No.
He never got to the mainland?
No.
Wow. and they got a whole day for him. See, they got a whole day for him over here because he was part of, you know what I mean, like the foundation. Right. And that's what we are in the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. We are the foundation that you don't see. Like, you don't see Christopher Columbus today, but you see what his work did. You see the actual buildings. You know what I'm saying? You don't see, he's under the ground. He's the foundation. You know what I mean? Like, people don't see the foundation. They just see, you know what I mean, the results of the foundation. You see these big buildings out here, that's just the result of the foundation. You don't see what's in the ground holding that building up. And the belief that white people are superior to black people is the foundation that's holding America up. You know what I'm saying? So you don't see that racism, you don't openly see it. You don't see, you know, what this nation's slavery that this nation was built off of, but it's ingrained in this place. It's what's holding everything up. The hatred of you, the slavery of you, the rape and murder of you and your family is what's holding this place up. You know what I'm saying? That's why Commander General YAHANNA always said we walking on the bones of the Native Indians. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we have to understand. You know what I'm saying? There's a new way to think and live in the earth if you black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. Okay? You got to give up that old way and, you know, give up the old man. I could just keep going because, you know, that's why, speaking of names, you know what I'm saying? That's why you get a name. That's why you get a Hebrew name. Because that new Hebrew name represents a new person. You are no longer supposed to be acting and behaving the way that old person did. You know what I'm saying? Whoever I was before I got the name Lashawan, I'm not that Negro no more. He's dead and gone. I don't do the things that cat did. I'm a whole different person now. Somebody see me that ain't seen me in 10 years, I'm not that cat no more. You know what I mean? Like, I can introduce myself. You know, the body's still the same, but, you know, the inside is different. It's clean. I got brainwashed. You know what I'm saying? My brain has been washed now. Isupk brought it out the other day. He said, man, you know what I mean? It's hard for them to see because all of the filth that's on their brain. Like, it's hard to see through clouded lenses. They can't see, you know what I mean? Like, celebrating Christmas is wrong because the filth of believing it is still on your brain. You know what I'm saying? But you get that filth washed off and you be like, you'll see, God damn, Christmas ain't, what was I even thinking?
You should know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Right.
Final time.
So that's that. All right. I'm going to take this word down, and then we'll get a sentence or two. Read the sentence like we're going to do tomorrow in the Sabbath service. Okay. Learn how to put these words together. Just give you a quick synopsis of, you know, putting these words together. I don't want to get too far. Just something simple. Okay. Real quick. Okay. All right, what was that? Okay. All right, remember, the Hebrew is written and read from right to left, okay? From right to left. Okay. This is just a short sentence. Okay. We got 3 words up here. 3 words. Okay, so this is the ancient Hebrew, okay? And let's put it up in the Assyrian. Let's put that up good. All right. Quick sentence. Okay. And this is, you know what I mean? Like, this is a real basic example of reading in the Tanakh, actually reading a sentence, putting words together, okay? Instead of one word at a time, you'll have, you know, obviously a plethora of words, okay? So this is a short, this isn't even a whole sentence. This is like a statement, okay? So what we have here is we have da, wa, da, okay? All of these sounds are separate, okay? So it's going to sound exactly how it looks, okay? Dawada, which means David, okay? Dawada. Okay, this is how it'll look in the ancient, okay? Okay, and this is how it'll look if you're reading the Assyrian. So if you're following along tomorrows and we're reading in the Tanakh, we'll be in the book of Ezekiel, I believe, somewhere around the 37th chapter, 38, something like that. But anyway, the word da, wa, da, that's how it'll look. When you see this word, da, wa, da, okay? Okay, so that means David, okay? So just, you know what I mean, like, I'm trying to give an example of how this Hebrew sounds, you know what I mean? Like, just think if you tried to make it sound like the Wahda, okay? Which almost sounds Hebrew, but for all intents purposes, this is David's name, King David, okay? This is his name. Da, wa, da, okay? This is how it'll look in the Assyrian. Da, wa, da. Okay, and then we have la, ah. So if you have been around the school for a minute, you know la, ah. You've heard that, right? You've heard con, la, ah. So la, ah means no, not. Okay, so la'ah would look like this. Okay. David not. First two words are David and not. Okay. Okay. And then we have Yadai. Okay. Yadai. Okay. This is what it looked like in the Assyrian tomorrow when we're reading Yadai. Okay. Which means know it. Okay. So the Hebrew is not like every language is different. Okay, so the way we speak and the way we put our words and terms together is not like how the Americans do their language. Okay, a lot of the times it's almost backwards the way you'll see it broken down in the English. When you compare our language to the English, it's almost like we say words directly, and Esau, the way he has his language set up, is more indirectly. You have to say a lot of words to get one point across. Okay,
A fool multiply their words.
right? Kana. Fool multiplies their words. Okay, and the Hebrew is very direct. Okay, David not knowing. Okay, that's how we spoke. You know what I mean, and that's how we're gonna speak again. You know what I mean? The Lord, that's his prophecy. The Lord, we're coming back to our original language. Okay, that's what this is all about. It's not happening for nothing. Okay, we are going to rule the earth, whether you want it to happen or not. Okay, whether you get aboard or not, whether you want to learn or not. We, as Israelites, we went into a land that the Lord promised us, and there was Negroes who didn't want to go. They wanted to go back to Egypt, but it happened because he wanted it to happen. Okay, so it's going to happen. We're going to rule the earth again, and we're going to rule the earth with this tongue. Okay, but this is just a short sentence. I wanted to, show us how, like if you're reading in the Tanakh tomorrow, you're going to put words together. Okay, da wa da la a yada. Okay,
It's like, well, you know that scripture in the Bible?
yeah, that's 1 Kings 1:11.
11. I got another one. I know. I'm seeing that one before. Is it 1 King?
Come. 1 Kings 1:11. I get it at the workbook. But yeah. Come. It's not the whole verse. It's just the end of it. Just the last 3 words of that verse, basically. Is it the last 3 words? Yeah. Yeah, last 3 words of that verse. 1 Kings. Where I put that at? Okay. 1 Kings 1:11. At the end of that verse, it says, Dawada La'a Yadai.
Oh, you're talking about for that scripture.
Oh, which one you?
No, I'm talking about when the Lord will return us back to a pure language.
Oh, yes, I do know what that says.
I know that. No, I know what it's at. I'm asking you know.
Yeah, kind of. I just have to find it in my notes. I don't know it off the top of my head. Okay. So I just wanted to give an example of what we'll be looking at tomorrow. Okay. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more words than this, but this is an example, a small example of how you read the Hebrew text and you put the words together. Okay. Dawada, la'a, yada. Okay. And if you've been in our Sabbath classes, you watch us read, we do this for, what do we do? Seven verses? 7 verses. We do basically, let's say we'll start at verse 1 and we'll end at verse 7. We read the whole thing. We get it in. I enjoy coming in here and just reading the Hebrew, okay? And then breaking it. I'm just breaking it down into English. Okay, that's what I read. You know what I mean? Like, I do that for a few more years, and I'm gonna be, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna know these words. I'm just, you know, it's just being in this culture. It's like being born. If you was born in China, but then you come over here to America, like it's only gonna. Okay, for example, our people, Haitians, Jamaicans, Mexicans, whoever, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, they are born over there in their land where they serve out their slavery, but then they'll come over here to America, and they, you know, it just takes a few years, and they, you know what I mean, speak the language. They know, you know what I mean, like they know how to move in them, you know what I mean, like so. It's just you come into this truth and you commit to it. You actually want, you know, to be a part of this culture, and you know you'll get there. It just takes a little time, a little dedication and effort, and the Lord will bless you with the understanding that you need, you know, to actually serve Him the way we're supposed to serve Him. And in the Israelite School Universe Practical Knowledge, men like Officer Thumb Young, you know, that's what we teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, how to operate and how to serve our God. Okay.
So like if I may, that's the tongue of the angels, man.
Come. That is come.
That's what the angels speak.
Right.
They speak in heaven, so that's what you learn. They call it Lashawan Qadash, the holy tongue.
Right.
So you cheat yourself.
Right. Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. You know what I mean? Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. Come get some of this. You know what I mean? You got anything else? Go ahead.
Okay, I don't have my text, the Bible with me, but when you reading it, like the first word, you're gonna read it backwards.
Okay. Good question. Okay. So you're not reading it backwards. You're reading it the way it was intended to be read. Okay. So you look at the American language. Okay. It was intended to be read from left to right. Okay. So this language was intended to be read from right to left.
So when you're looking at the scripture, you're gonna start with the last word and read.
Okay. This is the first word. Okay, you see what I got written up here? Right? This is the first word that I read. Okay. I know it's hard, but tell yourself everything that Esau taught you is not correct. It's not, just because his language is from left to right does not mean, is there other languages read from right to left in the earth?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I have to see, I have to check on that.
But what you need to know is English is backwards.
Right, that's the way I would look at it. Right.
And what we doing is not backwards.
So
Right.
like you said, I understand that, but when you're reading it up here, if you're reading from verse 1 to verse 7, do you start with verse 7?
No, we start in verse 1.
You start with verse 1.
Right. We start in verse 1. The only thing difference, like Officer Thumb Young is saying, is when the pages, when you're looking at the pages, okay. Okay, when you're looking at the text, you start over here instead of from over here. So 1 is over here, it's at the top, but I'm just gonna start over here and read like this. Okay? I'm not gonna read like I start at 1. I don't start at 7 and go up to 1. That is backwards, you know what I mean? I start at verse 1, okay? I'm just reading from over here. On the page, I start from over here instead of over here. Right, so that's the only difference. That's all it is. We read it from right to left, okay? Verse 1, I'll start reading. Dawada, La'a, Yaha, Yadai. You know what I mean? I'll start from over here instead of from over here. But it's still going to be verse 1. So, go ahead.
I was thinking you started in the sentence.
Right, no, right.
You start at the first sentence, but just start reading.
Right. I start.
Right to left.
Yes. It's there's a story to be told. I start at the beginning of the story. It's just my text is written in my book from right to left. So that's where I'm starting. I'm starting at the beginning of the story. I'm just reading from right to left. That's the only difference. Okay?
In your culture, everything starts from the right.
Right. Like you'll see it like when we do the Sabbath service, you know, we come up on the podium from the right and we leave off the left. You know what I mean? So everything's from right to left. Right. Come. Right. Okay. Listen, so with that, we're going to go ahead and end the class, okay? The water for everybody coming in. I appreciate y'all, your diligence, your consistency, your, wanting to learn this culture. Just stay strong, you know what I mean? Stick in there, and you'll see, you'll get the fruits of your labor, okay? So with that, I'm going to let y'all get out of here. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of your night. So I'm going to go ahead and salute y'all out. For the brothers, Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakathum. And for the sisters, Yahweh Shema Alathun Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. And with that, we're out of here. Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are under commanding General YAHANNA, and we're not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite group. Okay, shalom. The water.
I'm just going to click random stuff and something I'm sure is going to come to me because that's, what I love about this kit.
All my niggas ride for me. I got niggas that'll die for me. You niggas ain't built like that. Run around talking like a thug when you gon' bust a slug, man. Niggas get killed like that. Acting like you bang for the set when you ain't blood or cuz, man. Blood'll get spilled like that. Niggas saying really they the plug, but they talking to the judge, man. Get your cap peeled like that, cause niggas get killed like that. When you ain't built like that, you niggas ain't built like that. You was never on the block, you ain't never dodge a knock. You ain't never fought another crew holding down the park. You ain't swam with the sharks, you ain't wrestled with the gators. You was never fucking popping, you ain't got no fucking haters. Bitch, niggas like you make me watch out for the traitors. When you round some real niggas, mind your behavior. I will beat a nigga ass, then I'm laughing like I'm Jada. Get your fucking mind blown like a cartridge on a Sega. You niggas want attention, they don't want the war though. Talking all that shit, but you got a glass jaw.
door, ho, they never deliver. They got that DiGiorno, this that Walking Dead flow. I eat a rapper torso. You ain't the same man once you off the microphone. You ain't never broke a bone, you ain't never had a scar. You a certified pussy, so don't make me pull your car. I'm a certified prophet, respected like the word of God. Cause you ain't got the heart, nigga, you ain't got the heart. You ain't about to finish any beef that you start. You ain't never been a soldier, little nigga, play your part. Claiming that you'll spark when you ain't got the heart. Cause you niggas ain't built like that. Run around talking like a thug when you gon' bust a slug, man. Niggas get killed like that. Acting like you bang for the set when you ain't blood or cuz, man. Blood'll get spilt like that. Niggas saying really they the plug, but they talking to the judge, man. Get your cap peeled like that. Cause niggas get killed like that. When you ain't built like that. Run around talking like a thug when you gon' bust a slug, man. Niggas get killed like that. Acting like you bang for the set when you ain't blood or cuz, man. Blood'll get spilt like that. Niggas saying really they the plug, but they talking to the judge, man. Get your cap peeled like that. Cause niggas get killed like that. All my niggas ride for me. All my niggas ride with me. I got niggas that'll die for me. All my niggas ride with me. You niggas ain't.
I'm telling you, man. They really ain't gonna believe that I got a baby in my arms while I'm doing this. Little Zahar, man, won't be quiet, but check it out, yo. Yo. Playing spades, reminiscing on days before niggas started shooting, we would still catch fades. It's like the world's a lot scarier since crack grenades, and the only thing that we became is rats in a maze. Cause all my brother cares about is trapping in J's. Mine's fucked up from the pills and the haze. Pop said we hard-headed, stuck in our ways, so I've been praying to the most high that it's just a phase, yup. Hardly surprised and always amazed, especially at what's been getting radio plays, yo. I wanna be the cataclysm of a cataclysm, bomb atomically and take it back to lyricism. But you know, nowadays, it seems like it's forbidden. Anybody in the industry knows they ain't fucking with them, and anyone on sign, they wanna be outshined. So I guess it's just me, myself, and all these empty lines. I never knew that being nice would get you penalized. Once you blowing up, they wanna know your penis size. Hoes all staring, saying you got dreamy eyes. And if you ain't fake, they wanna see you demonized. If they be dropping gems, then this flow is El Dorado. A midnight marauder, young desperado with a bravado. That's a hard act to follow. Make your favorite rapper look like amateurs at the Apollo. Yo, and that's a hard pill to swallow. Me and my vato steady painting pictures like Picasso. Feds trying to clock us like Pablo and Gustavo. Go and tell straight to the Gestapo. Hola muchacho, yo hablo español. El hombre blanco es el diablo. Now I'm going over heads like a poncho. Trying to stack chips with more cheese than some nachos. Why you acting macho? Your whole clique is gato. They ain't want beef, but I feel it like a taco. Yo, don't get it twisted like a rasta. Don't be bringing none of that bullshit into mi casa. You ain't seen this much crack since the Contras. Belly of the beast, we all live inside a monster. That's why I be thanking God I'm alive, tapping into different vibes, penning more than a scribe. Every verse an open letter sent to all the tribes. Lost in the ghetto, steady struggling to survive. Yo, the things I seen with a pair of eyes got me out here living in this life desensitized. Part of the reason that I'm hardly if ever surprised. I've heard the screams of brothers and seen mothers that cried. Seen a soul leave a body right before he died. 23 years old, gunned down before his prime. While your favorite rapper only talking dollar signs. But when our people in trouble, they quiet as a mime. Every day is the struggle, I speak it through these lines. That's how I know they can relate, I speak their daily lives. I'm representing for my nation, all the lost tribes. All my people that been locked up ain't seen 25. Cause being born a minority was their first crime. They serve and protect, choking your neck, sever your spine. They murder one of us, no guilty verdict when they try. They wonder why they get no respect and we call them swine. Live in a time where you lose your life and become a vine. Friends turn to t-shirts, corners turn to shrines. And if our leader ain't a Pharisee, then he's a scribe. Cause he ain't coming out unless he thinks he can scrape a dime. Get his name in the paper, face in the line. The world's black and white, and you better pick a side. If I wasn't strong enough, then I would break inside. But I found the truth right before I lost my mind. Sorry, mama, I promised it wouldn't change me, but I would have went insane had I remained the same me. And I know you feel the same way if they slay me. So when I say the white man is the devil, don't blame me. I'm not here to make friends, kiss babies, shake hands for politics. Yo, what's affecting all the college kids? I mean, why did the students shoot up the colleges? Newborns found in shopping bags and garbages. All these problems that nobody acknowledges. Promise you one thing, you gonna acknowledge this. You know what I mean? Like that.
This for my people. This for my people. Yeah, this for my people. This for my people. This for my people. Yeah, this for my people. Put the white man, 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 put the white man. Painted by the Spanish, did a whole lot of damage. Shit was outlandish, banks got branded. Split up all the families, then shipped across the Atlantic. So many died from the famine. Threw the dead bodies overboard, sharks ate them like salmon. I know you can't stand it. I spit the truth, goddammit. Big business got managed, dig it double back. Came to pick up all the blacks. Whips beat up our back, we never got to relax. Pretend to set us free, but then you double back without a crack. The type of game that you play, hey, to keep it real, I ain't going for it. Beat a couple court cases, had a warrant for it. Told my mama if I ever did time, I'ma raise up the whole yard. Had my lawyer like, oh Lord, district attorney added more charges. No problem, I ain't tripping. Thumbing through the scriptures. Muhammad said the Lord with you, boy, that's a small issue. Bounce back out the rebound. UPK got the heat now. They done let me off the leash now, teaching in the streets now. I'm part of Lost Tribe South, but it started in the East now. Look, this for my people. This for my people. Yeah, this for my people. This for my people. This for my people. Yeah, this for my people. Put the white man, 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 put my people.